All right then. This is a double test. This is a double test. Testing the microphone once again. And the other thing is, it just rained, so the streets are wet. And I normally don't film at nighttime because, well, hell, you need light when you film. That's just what photography is about. Photography. Photo meaning light. You need the light. Not a lot of light at night, right? Well, we have a slight advantage right now because the ground is wet. So all of the street lights and car lights and my bike light and the moon, which isn't here, light is reflecting off the ground and giving us a little more texture and things. So the picture should look a little more appealing. Now, if you guys want to know the settings of my GoPro right now, I will share them with you. Right now, I'm filming on a GoPro Hero 6 with the mic hooked in. Hopefully the audio is working. And the picture setting, I'm at Super View at 4K, which is 3840 by 2160. I have the color balance set to 4000 Kelvin because it's a in between, a little more towards tungsten, which is 3200. Daylight is 5600 Kelvin. So it's in between the two. I think it looks best at night since there's so many different colors. It's very popular these days to have more blue daylight colored lights. It used to be tungsten back in the day, but now with all these LEDs, things are starting to look ugly. I prefer the warmer tungsten light at night. Anyways, that was a ramble. But I have the shutter speed locked at 1/48 of a second. That is as low as I ever want to go when I'm shooting my camera at 24 frames a second. You guys probably know that by now, that I only shoot at 24 frames a second, which is 38.976, and 1/48 of a second on the shutter is double that, and that's where I like to keep it. The ISO is locked at 6400 ISO. Now that's all the way maxing the GoPro out, and the picture is going to have a lot of noise because of it, and I'm aware of this. But I'm most likely gonna make this picture black and white anyways, because you can hide a lot of weird noise issues by switching to black and white, because your RGB channels normally get weird noise differently, the different color spectrums. So switching to black and white helps hide those issues. So that's what I'm gonna do, most likely. We'll check it out. If it looks good, if I'm surprised, I'll just leave it up. But that's the idea with this video. It's just to show everyone and myself, reminder to myself why I don't film at night. You might have heard me complain about how Monster Truck I only film the first manifest because it usually looks like this by the end of it, and that's why I don't like to film that late. I also don't have time to change my camera settings in the race, so I start when the sun's out, and then the sun goes down and my cameras are set a certain way. I can't, it's not set the same way for shooting at night than it is when the race started, and I don't shoot the camera in auto. I mean, I do float the ISO during racing scenarios, but the GoPro has a minimum and maximum ISO that you can set, and when I have the ISO floating, I normally float it as a minimum of 100 ISO and a maximum of 400 ISO, because I believe our eyes, we don't really see, at least right away, our eyes adjust over time to the lack of light. But I don't think the GoPro should go past 400 ISO, so I try not to ever shoot past 400 ISO. So once the picture's dark, the picture's fucking dark. This is recording this right after the Tuesday night ride. I filmed part of the ride until the battery died, basically. The Prospect ride, it was again like a kind of a more of a test. I shot that on the Rilo 360, and I know that the Rilo doesn't have, it has terrible low light, so I mean, what are you gonna expect out of a 360 camera, right? Can't have everything. So even though we rode with trail lights and stuff, you can see it's kind of like a tunnel of light, and it's really like you don't see a lot going on the edges. And I had it hooked up on my Giro helmet on the top of the visor. I've made a video for that in the past. If you want to check that out, I'll link it right up here. It's a Giro Montero helmet. It's kind of cool. It's got a little GoPro mount on the top, which I use for my light for night riding. And then I have the Rilo attached right under the visor. And I hooked up an additional little sound recorder on the rear to kind of counterbalance the camera, or the helmet with the camera on it. I also, earlier today, tried to film, well, I did film a premiere, kind of like a technical difficulties with Terry episode of me explaining my process of how I shoot the premiere videos. I mean, after I shoot a video, what I do in the computer in Premiere, set it up, and I show just a couple things, what I do right away, things that I do to the GoPro to make the picture quality better, in my opinion, in post, things to adjust the way the picture looks, and things to kind of set yourself, or at least set my stuff apart from other people's. Just give it my own little kind of a look. It's nothing crazy, but you know, it's just what I do. Definitely makes my stuff look different than everyone else's. Anyways, I hope this camera test works. I hope the audio works, because this will be the 4th video in the last 2 days that I shot, and I failed. Failure is definitely part of the process, so I welcome it. See you guys later. Peace.